Hey everybody, it's Mark T, and it's time for Cartoon Tuesday on a Thursday. Yeah. Anyways, I apologize for uploading this so late. I've just been really busy and stuff happens and gets in the way and such and stuff. Anyways, the show I decided to talk about today was a show that I was watching a lot of today and these past few weeks, and that show is Recess. Now, if you haven't heard of this show, essentially it was shown in the 90s during the Saturday Disney block on ABC. Or if you lived in America, well, I have no idea how you saw it. In any case, this show was fantastic. It was the first show that I ever saw that had kids as main characters. I mean, even in Batman, we had Robin, but still, it always focused on Batman. Not that that's a bad thing, but Recess was the first show that I watched, aside from Doug, that actually focused specifically on the concept of kids. It showed what recess meant to every kid, and it had a lot of really unique and honestly really awesome characters. But I'm here to talk about the six main characters of the series and my own personal favorite character in the series in general. So, 6 main characters are TJ, Gretchen, Spinelli, Vince, Mikey, and Gus. So I'll talk about them one at a time. First is TJ. He is the classic leader archetype and, well, planner. He's the guy that comes up with all the plans to do things right, to make pranks. You know, he's the classic 9-year-old kid. You know, just waiting for school to end and waiting for the bell to ring so he can get out to recess. He's usually the one that comes up with the plans to pull pranks on the main antagonist of the series, who I would generally consider Miss Finster, who is basically the... if you've ever had one, like kind of like the downer person, like the person that watched the kids during recess to make sure that they didn't do anything wrong or stupid or anything. So essentially, he usually comes up with all the plans to prank her or to prank people that he doesn't like, and it's, you know, he's the classic leader, you know? He's got a really unique design to him, too. Mainly the fact that he wears, like, a gray jacket and the classic backwards red cap, which is pretty well known, but, you know, not much else to say. He's the classic, like I said. He's the leader, and he's who each of them considers the best friends. Next, we got Gretchen, who's a classic smart girl of the group. She doesn't so much come up with the plans, but she does make the inventions that help the plans get going. And she's also been shown to have a very high genius intellect. She's able to, you know, she's essentially the one that wins every single science fair that they have at the school. And she's also just, well, she's a genius. She even gets offered to go to a super genius school at one point in the series. But then we have Spinelli, the classic tomboy, who, you know, really tough, really strong, and overall, you know, while she can sometimes be a bit pig-headed, she is generally, you know, she generally uses her strength to, you know, to help people that can't defend themselves. She essentially protects kids and such. Then we got Vince. He's the main man. He's probably the most well-known in the group in terms of all the other kids on the playground. He's very popular, and he's also incredibly good at sports. So, you know, not very much to say about him. You know, we haven't really taken any, like, there were never any steps taken outside of the fact that he was really good at sports and that was essentially all he was about. He's a classic sports guy. Then we got Mikey, who is a classic big guy but soft-hearted person. A person that if at first look you might think is not scary, but you'd think he's maybe a bully type, but he's actually a very soft-hearted person. He's also a poet, and, you know, he does a nice thing. He's the nice guy. He helps kids, you know, everything. Then we got Gus, who was the newest kid. And essentially, he is, well, like I said, he's the new kid. He's the kid that joins the 5 others in the first episode of the series. And, well, there's nothing really overly special about him, aside from the fact that he has to constantly move from school to school because of his father's work, since his father works in the army. However, he's not had to leave. He didn't have to move away from the most recent school he's been at, so, you know, that's good. Also, he's a really good character. He's the kind of character that you'd think is a scaredy cat at first, but then once you really see him when he needs to stand up to things, like in one particular episode, he has to stand up to this bully that's probably like the biggest bully in the entire series. And then when he finally stands up to him, he gets the crap kicked out of him. But he gains the respect of essentially everyone else on the playground, so they realize that they can't keep letting, the bully do that stuff. So everyone stands up against him. And it's all thanks to Gus. So that's the 6 main characters. We also have the main antagonist, like I said, Muriel P. Finster, who is, the guardian of all the kids. She watches over them during recess, and, that's her usual thing. She also has this little tattletale boy that works with her named Randall, who, like I said, classic tattletale snitch. Not liked by many of the kids, but a few episodes actually do focus around him. My favorite episode with him is the episode where he actually tries to be a better kid, and he actually ends up making friends with all the other kids in the show, and it's just, it's good. Then we have Principal Prickly, who is, just a principal. He doesn't show up that much in this series overall, but he does play a very important part in the Recess movie, which if you haven't seen it, go check that out, because I'm not going to explain that. Anyways, that's essentially the overall concept. Like, the whole concept of the show is kids going to recess, like playing sports, pulling pranks, and just having fun. And that's the whole concept of the show, which is why it's so good to watch, It's very much like The Simpsons, like there's no worry of continuity. You could literally start watching at any point in the series, and the only episode that you'd really need to watch before watching any of the other episodes in the series is the episode where Gus starts coming in, which is just the first episode. Aside from that, there's not much else to say. Although I will say my favorite character in the series. His name is Butch, and he is an awesome storyteller with a streak in his hair. That's it. Anyways, see you later.